Hello, Chimera crew! I am MegumiMary, also known as NM, the demonic Chimera girl, with a heart of stone and hatred for anyone who hurts my Mary. Today, we are here with a special stream. It is not just the 6th day of our annual Metroid Marython, but it is also the what do you call it? Sorry, I just need to move some stuff around. All right. It is also the 10th anniversary of when our channel was rebooted with this video right here that we are going to be watching. So yeah. This is going to be fun and a little bit cringy. Let us enjoy.
My name is MegumiMary. This is the first episode of a show I would like to call Critical Analysis.
So right off the bat, back when our YouTube channel was called MegumiMary, because it was before Mary realized she was a system. So little channel history right there. We have since changed our name to Megumi System, because Mary has since realized she is not alone. Yeah. Fun fact. We have since realized that most of the editing and, like the actual working on the video stuff was mostly me. So, Mary's like more of like the idea and creativity. I'm more of like working on the stuff. There's another element, another alter who helps with that, but, you know, we're not going to be talking about that today.
In this series, I'm going to look at various video games, movies, books, TV shows, whatever. I'm going to look at them and critique them. I'm going to bring up arguments that I myself 100% support that may go against what other people would think about them. Now, for my first episode, yeah, people are gonna hate me. So
right off the bat, you know, establishing a bit of our tongue-in-cheek humor. Well, mine at least. And yeah, critical analysis is something we like to do now and then because, honestly, we do have a lot of controversial opinions, especially when it comes to defending things that people don't like. You know, we've done a video on Sakura Haruno. We've done an episode on... What do you call it? We've done an episode on... what do you call it? We've done an episode on the Star Wars prequel films long before everyone else was starting to defend them. So it's like, you know, it's like we've always been contrarians with defending things people didn't like. And it all, you know, and Metroid Other M was definitely like one of the things we started with. Because we've always had a soft spot for Metroid Other M, you know?
if you ask like 90% of the people out there, okay, let's be honest, it's more like 99% of the people out there.
Yes, we made a 1% joke in our
Metroid
first video.
Other M is a seriously hated game because it had the audacity to give Samus a voice. Wait, why do people want a Legend of Zelda TV show? Same thing will happen to Link. Well, anyway.
And a lot of people have since started to realize that if Link was mostly, like, if Link didn't talk at all, that would be for the better. So we do recognize that people have started to realize that. Because back then, it was a very different take on the internet that people have since come around on.
Now, I'm going to be going into spoiler territory here, so viewer beware. The reason giving Samus a voice was a bad move because the narrations were long, her tone was uninspired, and she did everything Adam told her to do. Also, there was a scene a lot of people hated with Ridley and some post-traumatic stress. So let's address the Adam situation first. Samus is an independent bounty hunter who stumbles upon an active Galactic Federation mission. She ends up listening to Adam about authorizing the use of each and every last one of her gadgets. But my question is, why is this a problem? She's an independent bounty hunter, stepping in on Galactic Federation business. She wasn't hired, there's no bounty to collect, and...
Samus, looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission. But I'm also gonna have to ask that you follow my commands. You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so.
I think we can look at this as not just a personal interest in Adam being a father figure, but rather the simple fact that she doesn't want to get arrested. Samus acknowledges this herself in an earlier part of the game.
Adam hadn't authorized it, but I decided to remain on site for the sake of the others.
Now, Samus realizes that if she refuses an order to leave, it could result in legal complications for herself. It could result in arrest warrants, court-martials, a crackdown on her already liberal freedoms, like transporting Metroids, for example. The Galactic Federation have people in it that seem to be out for her blood.
You're just an outsider. And given your unofficial status, I cannot allow you contact with the witness. With your predilection for transporting illegal cargo like infant Metroids, I must ask that you restrict your... Time for the lady to go home. Someone escort her.
I think it's also worth pointing out that Samus does question Adam's motives several times throughout the long-winded narrations. But she knows that as an outsider encroaching on Galactic Federation business, were she to get that order to leave, she won't be able to stay, help out, and figure out what's going on. The idea that she listens out of respect to Adam is false. As we see at the end of the game when she's no longer being monitored around the clock, she has no problem breaking the rules to utilize her screw attack.
Any objections, Adam?
So that's one problem out of the way. But what about the long, dull narrations? Well, this is actually the best message the game has, believe it or not. The entire game, she is talking, and it sounded like zero emotion is being put into the lines. It's like the actress who played the role is doing a half-assed job, when in reality, that's the point. It has to have zero emotion because Samus is repressing her emotions. In the scene...
Now, we will go back on this a little bit and say that the VA who did voice Samus did flub a few lines that could have been delivered so much better. Like, there are a few line deliveries that we will point out while we are playing the game that could have been delivered so much better. The English dub needs a redub. Badly. You know, it is one of the things a remake can vastly improve upon. Alright, and well, one of the things we forgot to mention earlier is that a remake could also improve upon pointing out more that Samus using her weapons without authorization could get her court-martialed by simply adding in a mode where you're allowed to unlock your weapons whenever you want, But the trade-off is that if you do that, you get an alternate ending where Samus is blacklisted by the Galactic Federation, and then we find out that a few years later, the X-Parasites took over everything. You know, I'm just saying that would make it hit harder. But yeah, there are a few line deliveries that the voice actress did that aren't right. So I will give that one. But the long, dull narrations that are emotionless is, again, as we're going to say, that's kind of the point. And another thing that I don't think we mentioned in the video at all is the fact that Samus does not speak verbally that much in the actual game. It is all internal monologue, which we see from Samus so much throughout the entire series. We see so much of Samus's internal monologue in Zero Mission, in Samus Returns, in Super Metroid, in Metroid Fusion, and in Metroid Dread. All of those games open with Samus's Samus's internal monologues. And in each of those games, there are moments, not in each of them, but like in Fusion and Dread, there are moments where Samus talks to other characters briefly. And Samus talks briefly with other characters here when there are moments that prompt it. But like 95% of Samus's dialogue in this game is all internal monologue. But because we are constantly hearing it, that's all people focus on is the internal monologue. Which again, for Samus, is nothing new in this series.
When she was with the Galactic Federation Army, she was rebellious and letting her emotion...
And also worth noting that Metroid Fusion had multiple internal monologues throughout the entire game. We just played it the other day, and there were multiple points throughout the game when you were going up and down the elevators where those elevator sequences break up the gameplay with internal monologue, just like what happens in Other M. The difference is that one is done via text, the other is done via voice acting.
Control her actions. She refers to it as an unfortunate incident. And she even says that if it were to happen again, she would try for redemption.
I knew the question Anthony was suppressing, and I knew the answer. If something like that happened again, I would hold fast to that glimmer of hope and try for redemption. That's who I am.
The truth is, she's ashamed of her emotions. And I can see why, after getting so attached to an infant Metroid, only to have it die in front of you, it leaves a scar. And the same could be said for any loss. Samus has long been praised as the independent bounty hunter who kicks ass and takes names. She's always known to be fearless and attached to her mission. This can easily be explained by rejecting her emotions and shoving them down, repressing them, refusing to acknowledge them. But when people try with all their might to repress these emotions, you will reach the boiling point. This scene with Ridley in the game is actually a massive turning point for Samus. Her emotions come out in the form of post-traumatic stress disorder. Ridley and Samus may have fought many times, but during the events of Super Metroid, Ridley actually died. All the other times, Ridley doesn't really die. Ridley only dies twice in the Metroid canon. Once in Super Metroid and once in Metroid Fusion.
That's actually not true. 3 deaths because the Ridley... This Ridley was actually the corpse from... What do you call it? This Ridley is the corpse from Other M. And we killed the X-Parasite Ridley that makes off with this corpse. So that's technically 3 Ridleys, if you want to count the X-Corpse Ridley as a third.
Ironically, the Ridley from Metroid Fusion is this genetically created Ridley. The point I'm trying to make is that Samus represses her emotions. After this, you see her get very emotional in a variety of scenes. Adam's sacrifice is another great example. The beauty of this scene, if you read into it enough, is that after trying to run from her emotions for so long, she makes the same mistake she originally did. She let them boil over and cloud her judgment. In trying to run from her emotions, she still became a slave to them. The ending after the final boss has her going to get the helmet that Adam left behind. I see this scene as her finding the right balance between emotion and duty.
Yeah.
In the end, Samus is still human, and I feel that
Happy
this story was
New
more
Year,
about
Death
realizing
Annihilator.
that nobody is perfect. We all have our good times and our bad times. This story was Samus's rebirth and acceptance of her past, looking forward to the future. Now, if we could just get a non-Blastball Metroid game, that'd be great.
Yes, we still maintain that Federation Force is not a good game. We have tried so hard to beat Federation Force, we just can't. We just can't. But yeah. So yeah, this video, it is 10 years old. Look at that. December 31st, 2015. Happy anniversary. All right. It is time.
still alive. The baby. Mother, time to go.
Okay, Samus. Everything's normal.
I awoke to the familiar voice of a quarantine officer.
Let's try sitting up, huh? Slowly now.
A dream. I had been reliving the tragic moments of my recent past. Thanks to the hyper beam, which was given to me somehow by the baby, I laid Mother Brain to waste. And the explosion that followed destroyed Planet Zebes, along with the remains of Mother Brain, the space pirates, and my long-standing nemesis, Ridley, and the baby.
Come on, Samus. Let's go next door.
Right, let's get started. Ready for a quick test, Samus? Let's start with a little warm-up. Try a charge beam for me. Sharp-looking charge beam, just the way I like it. Okay, more ball next. Go ahead and drop some bombs. Okay, get out of Morphball mode and return to normal. Perfect, Samus. Alright, stand in the middle of the room. Surprised? From there, kick climb to work your way up. Just like that, Samus. Let's invite some of your pals. Okay, looking good. Let's check your reaction time. Here comes Use concentration to replenish your missile supply. One of your pesky buddies is lurking here somewhere. Find him for me, huh? Why not say hello with a missile? Looks like you ticked him off. The rest is all you. How about you try using a power rifle? This area is well fortified, so don't pull back. Allow adequate room around you during power bomb. Alright, Samus. That's it for the test. Looks like you took quite a bit of damage. It's unbelievable how well you've held up.
I wondered if this too was a result of the power the baby gave me.
Right. You're doing the meeting room. The big dogs are waiting. I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
Not even a fragment. None of the baby remained on me. I knew it to be true, but still couldn't help looking at my palm for a sign. Never again would I encounter the baby. Never. The finality of it struck me once again. Mission completed. The planet Zephys was annihilated, and all Metroids were exterminated. A simple report, almost dull even, but it felt momentous to me. I don't know how much time passed since then. Days went by in their quiet way, and people's recollections of Metroids and space pirates grew nebulous over time, relegated to a past concern of the galactic communities. Nothing more than a faded memory. Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention. The signal was coming from a remote part of space. I altered the course of my ship as if this detour had already been part of my flight plan. Baby's cry. It was as though it was crying specifically for me.
Remember me?
Anthony. There's only one person who calls me Princess. And that person is Anthony Higgs of the Galactic Federation Army.
Haven't seen you since that last mission. Hey, and your buddy's here too.
Adam Malkovich, a general in the Galactic Federation Army. Not only a trusted confidant, but also my former superior officer. Yes, there was a time when I was enrolled in the Galactic Federation Army. And then I was young and inexperienced. As the result of a certain incident, I left Adam's command and set out on my path as a solitary bounty hunter.
What are you doing here?
The first words out of his mouth were typical coming from Adam. To answer his question, I recounted the details of what had brought me to this place, and then I asked what circumstances led the Federation here.
That information is not for an outsider.
The word he so obviously chose, outsider, pierced my heart.
Commander, we're all prepped.
No dice. I think our only option is to use the laser to slowly burn our way through. This is gonna take a while.
The electrical system here is out, and we can't get the barrier wall to open. We tried using explosives, but it's tricky to pull off without collateral damage. What we need is some way to focus the power onto one centralized location. All right. I'm gonna go on ahead.
Adam hadn't authorized it, but I decided to remain on site for the sake of the others.
someone or something attacked him.
Get away from me! Enough!
It was obvious that there was some pervasive danger throughout the facility. I didn't know what had brought Adam here, but I did know that cooperation was imperative if we were to restore safety.
Adam, listen to me. Clearly, this facility is in complete disorder. It might be too dangerous for your men to go alone. That's why I've...
Look at that!
They're coming out of the wall!
Right, stay calm.
Nothing's working! Listen up! Freeze guns authorized! Sam, I'm authorizing missile use! Concentrate fire in a single location and freeze that thing! And Samus, you attack the frozen spot!
Samus, looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission, but I'm also gonna have to ask that you follow my commands. You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so.
Any objections, lady?
The thumbs up sign had been used by the Galactic Federation for ages. Me? I was known for giving the thumbs down during briefing. I had my reasons, though. Commander Adam Malkovich was normally cool and not one to joke around. But he would end all of his mission briefings by saying, "Any objections, lady?" He was joking, but others weren't. At the time, I felt surrounded by people who treated me like a child. or used kid gloves because I was a woman. And yet with Adam, I was grateful for the nod. My past has left me with an uneasy soul, and as a result, it touched me on some level that Adam would acknowledge that past by calling me something delicate, like lady. And I knew more than anyone that every word from Adam was deliberate. My thumbs down was a twofold response. A sign of derision at being called a lady, and a signal of my complete understanding of the mission orders. The other soldiers were always willing to support me with easy smiles despite the fact that I clearly had so much yet to learn. Among them was Anthony. In the face of his well-meaning behavior and that of the other soldiers, my response was to become increasingly bitter. I was a child, always with something to prove, a chip on my shoulder. And I was angry. I felt that if I let my guard down, I would easily be broken. And beyond that, I was scared. But even in the naivete of my youth, I could see in Adam's joking manner how close he felt to me. Adam knows my past, and he knows me better than anyone else. Confession time. Because I was so young when I lost both of my parents, there's no question I saw Adam as a father figure. When I rebelled against him, I knew I could get away with it. And his paternal compassion in the face of my rebellion reinforced the special bond I felt with him. I understood well that chances were slim that I would ever find anyone that understood me like Adam. And yet, when the time came, I still left his side. I was so young. Young and naive.
Exactly what transpired here on the bottle ship is still uncertain. Here's what we do know. The equipment we thought had been destroyed is operational again. And we've seen casualties attributed to an unidentified and lethal creature. The situation is critical. We need to gather all the information we can, but priority one is to find any survivors and bring them to safety. Consider this site extremely dangerous. Be careful as you make your sweeps. And there's one problem. The wireless interference in this facility is all-pervasive. Your comm systems are useless. As a result, communication channels will be limited to the facility's navigation booths. Well then, Lyle, investigate Sector 1 and show a little restraint with the explosives. Gotcha. Maurice, you cover Sector 2. Repair any equipment you come across.
Affirmative.
Anthony, you're Sector 3. I'll leave it to you to decide whether plasma guns are called for.
All right.
James, check out the control bridge. Our communication issues might be the result of electrical interference.
Yes, sir.
And KG, run a complete sweep of the residential quarters and investigate any trace of survivors.
Got it.
Each of you is authorized to use a freeze gun. Do not forget to check in regularly via navigation booths. And Samus, you go to the system management room. Do everything you can to get the electrical system back up and running. Looks like your comm system is still functional. Remember, everything you see will also appear on this screen. Regarding auxiliary weapons, the use of bombs has been authorized. As far as your other weapons go, we will continue to investigate and authorize use as we can. However, we currently have no plans to authorize the use of power bombs. As you know, they have the ability to spread a high-temperature heat wave over a large area, impacting living things, which is a nice way of saying they can vaporize humans instantly. You should be well aware of how dangerous power bombs are, and how their devastation can't be obstructed with common materials. Once the mission in the system management room is complete, I need you to report back. I'll give you your next orders then. I want you all to be especially careful as you execute your missions. That's the end of the briefing.
It was the first joint mission I'd been a part of since becoming a freelance bounty hunter. And of course, it was the first time since my Federation days that I was following the orders of a commanding officer. Having received mission orders from Adam, I felt confused and strangely exhilarated at the unexpected turn of events. I responded. Understood, Adam. No objections, of course.
Samus, go through the hatch on your right and head towards Sector 1. Lyle went ahead to secure a route to a facility of interest. I'll leave you to survey Sector 1.
The large cage-like booth looked like something had been raised in it. And in one corner was the miserable form of a researcher's corpse. This victim hadn't sustained the same injuries. The dead I'd seen had been torn apart by something large. This one had been attacked by a different type of creature. And as I studied the violence this creature had wrought, I felt something in the air, the presence of a dark intelligence.
Samus, proceed through the hatch I just unlocked. Your next destination is a little further ahead.
creatures use the powers of others to capture their prey. Watching this disgusting beast, I felt as though it was feeding off my power as well. At the same time, a thought crossed my mind. That howl I heard earlier, could this creature have been the source?
Samus, head to the biosphere test area in your current sector. There should be some important information about this facility in that exam center. The other members are en route. Quickly, go meet them there.
Hey, Samus. Where's Lyle?
Looks like he's late. Huh?
Hey. The CPU seems to have self-destructed. The central system is broken into parts, but I think I might be able to restore it and recover some of the data. Let's try it.
Like the CO said, there might be some pretty crucial information hidden here. Well, while Maurice here is working his magic, the rest of us should search this building. Am I right?
Got it.
Hey, Princess. Does this view bring back any memories? Yeah. Looks like the training grounds of the Galactic Federation.
Sequence complete. Process successful.
That's it for today's Stream Chimera crew. If you're on Twitch, stand by for raid. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. You can scan this QR code here to be taken to my personal website, MegumiMary.com/links, to find links to all my projects across the internet. As always, I appreciate any and all support you give me. I have been MegumiMary. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't stop being awesome. Cue the outro.